What goes through your mind as an investor, as a crypto advocate, as a Bitcoiner, when you see markets correct like this? What's the first thing that you think?
How much can I buy? The the opportunity is vast because I still look at Bitcoin as it's just better currency. And eventually better currency will win out. Better products eventually win out. Uh, and the fiat currencies are tied to governments and banks, and there's a lot of friction there. And then there are some politics that will print too much fiat here or too little there or whatever. Bitcoin is just there are only 21 million of them, so they're going to be a great hedge against inflation. And they have a, a great system of transparency. It's global, it's open. There's so many great things to it. And I believe that once the women start, and they are starting to, it used to be 1 in 14 Bitcoin wallets were owned by a woman, and now it's 1 in 6. And and I think it's going to be, at parity very soon, because and women control about 80% of retail spending. And when a retailer realizes that they can get a 2 to 4% discount by just taking Bitcoin, they're going to be encouraging all their customers to use Bitcoin, and that I think will be the key turning point where. At first, it's like we have early adopters, and they're kind of in here, and they're speculators, and there's some other people that are participating in this new Bitcoin ecosystem. But the masses are going to be coming in very soon, and once they do, it'll be all at once. And think of when you can buy your food, your clothing, and your shelter all in Bitcoin. There would be no reason to hold on to fiat currency because it's just not as good. It's tied to some political force. It has to go through the banks. Bitcoin's much less friction, and it's it's global. So and it's sort of, this is an exciting time, and I knew this was going to go through fits and starts as it matures, as it becomes more centrally used and centrally available around the world. I'm very excited about what's going on with Bitcoin, and I do look at these machinations. And this is, I mean, yeah, it looks like we're having, the equivalent of a 1929 collapse today, but we've got a better technology in Bitcoin. So I'm a big believer. I've continued to buy Bitcoin over the years and have felt that at some point there will be sort of a run on the dollar, or certainly there have been runs on the peso and the Nigerian naira, but there will be runs on the dollar where people are running away from the dollar and moving into Bitcoin. So very exciting times. I know there will be other challenges for Bitcoin along the way, but it's just better currency, and things that are better for the long term for the consumer usually do win out in the end. But in the meantime, you're going to see, central banks getting a little nervous, governments getting a little nervous, big governments getting nervous. Little governments look at this as an opportunity.
Right.
Okay? Very interesting. I mean, it's geopolitical. This is a big deal.
And in the meantime, a lot of people live in their fiat currencies. And so when they have an asset like Bitcoin that's come off, 10% or 20% or 30%, how should they emotionally react to that? When it's sometimes harder to see a long-term perspective.
Well, I think the way they should look at their Bitcoin is that sort of a bet on the future, and there will be a time when, there will be sort of a time when people don't want their fiat currencies anymore. And that will be the time where you got to feel like, good, I've got some Bitcoin. And so that's the way I would look at it is, yeah, I wouldn't think of it as something you would buy your food, your clothing, and your shelter with today, but it won't be long before you do. Although when I was buying a house, they knew who was buying it from them, and they asked me for Bitcoin. And when I was donating money, they knew who I was, and they wanted Bitcoin. They didn't want dollars. So Stanford University was asking me to donate money in Bitcoin, and they didn't want dollars.
Right.
I was saying, no, I'm not giving away my Bitcoin.